Hi, my name is Cheryl Coleman, and I've been doing Black History programs for schools, churches, libraries, and retirement communities for several years, for over 20 years. And I'm very happy to be able to share with you online this year. We'll be having some old recordings and some new, and I hope you enjoy Resilience, Black History 2021.
I was walking along, minding my business, when out of an orange-colored view, flash, bam, alakazam, wonderful you came by. I was humming a tune, drinking in sunshine, when out of that orange-colored view, flash, bam, alakazam, I gotta look at you. One look and I yelled timber. Watch out for flying glass. 'Cause the ceiling fell in and the bottom fell out. I went into a spin and I started to shout. I've been hit. This is it. This is it. I was walking along, minding my business, when love came and hit me in the eye. Flash, bam, alakazam, out of an orange-colored sky. One look and I yelled timber. Watch out for flying glass. 'Cause the ceiling fell in and the bottom fell out. I went into a spin and I've started to shout. I've been hit. This is it. This is it. I was walking along, minding my business, when love came and hit me in the eye. Flash, bam, alakazam, out of an orange-colored, purple-striped, pretty green polka dot sky. Flash, bam, alakazam, and goodbye.
Whenever I do a Black History program in February, I try to participate in the African American Read-In. There, it's sponsored by the National Council of Teachers of English, and it has been established for over 31 years. So in November of 2020, I moved from Oklahoma City to Bradenton, Florida. Yay, Florida. It's about 5 degrees in Oklahoma City right now and 70 in Florida, so I am loving that. So on the way, on the trip here, 1,300 miles, 20 hours, I had a young friend who was driving and pulling my car, and he said, "Oh, we can make it more than halfway." I was like, "No, I'm old, and I want to stop." And I like to visit other states, and I had not ever been to Louisiana before. And so we stopped in Alexandria, Louisiana. The next morning, after we were leaving the hotel, I thought, man, I'd like to see if there's anything Black History related. So I just Googled, Black History in Alexandria. Sure enough, on Google, I found the childhood home of a Harlem Renaissance writer. The Harlem Renaissance is one of my favorite topics right after the historic all-black towns of Oklahoma. So I was really super excited, so excited. That was my response. And so for the read-in, we're going to read an excerpt from one of Arna Bontemps' poems called Golgotha is a Mountain. Golgotha is a mountain, a purple mound almost out of sight. One night they hanged 2 thieves there and another man. Some women wept heavily that night. Their tears are flowing still. They have made a river. Once it covered me. Then the people went away and left Golgotha deserted. Italy has its Rome and California has San Francisco, all covered with mountains. Some think these mountains grew like anthills or sand dunes. That might be so. I wonder what started them all. Babylon is a mountain, and so is Nineveh, with grass growing on them. Palaces and hanging gardens started them. I wonder what is under the hills in Mexico and Japan. There are mountains in Africa too. Treasure is buried there, gold and precious stones and molded glory. Lush grass is growing there, sinking before the wind. Oh, the world is covered with mountains. Beneath each one, there's buried something. Some pile of wreckage started it there. Mountains are lonely and some are awful. One day I will crumble. They will cover my heap with dirt, and that will make a mountain. I think it will be Golgotha. Another portion of history in the late 1800s and early 1900s that fascinates me is the historic all-black towns of Oklahoma. And once I started learning about them, I wanted to know more and more. So this is my documentary that I prepared. It's also on my YouTube channel, which is Maker Outreach. The historic all-black towns of Oklahoma represent a portion of history missing from most textbooks. In the late 1800s, Edward P. McCabe, the founder of Langston, sought to make Oklahoma an all-black state. Self-sufficient communities would be a haven from the oppressive Jim Crow laws that were so rampant in the U.S. While Oklahoma did not become an all-black state, it produced over 50 black towns, more than any other state in the Union. 13 of these towns still exist. After hearing about the towns, I became fascinated by them. I have traveled to each surviving community and interviewed elders and leaders. There are many stories to tell, from the guy who offered me a beer to the pastor who brought me up close and personal with a herd of cattle. Here are excerpts of some of the interviews of the gracious people who are willing to speak with me. Tell me about Clearview when you were a child.
When I was a kid, it was lots of people in Clearview. Clearview was a big town.
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, people died out, moved, left, no work. They had to leave to go to work. And now it's just down to nobody almost.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was growing up, there's lots of people. Yep. They had a college, hotel, everything. 2 cotton gins, train. Now, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What made you come back?
My wife wouldn't come out there where I was, so I had a job. I had a good job in California, and I told her to come on. We was gonna get married, and she said, "No, I'm not going back to California." We had court. We've been courting each other since she was about, I guess, 14, 15. And then I went there over there. I was in California, had a good job, but she didn't want to come back over to California.
Wow.
So I came on back to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. So what makes you proud about Clearview?
Is the fact that we do have people, our own citizens, that are still fighting to try to make it a better place.
Mm-hmm.
They've not given up. A lot of us have, but there's a few that they just go out of their way. Shirley and Doc Nero, Merrill and them, Grundy and them, they all pull together, for the betterment of this great community.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
In 2016, I took my most expensive picture at the Gumbo Festival in Grayson. Iola Hill was sitting with a lady selling jams and jellies. At first, she wouldn't let me take her picture, but after I bought 2 jars of preserve instead of 1, she relented. I was also able to attend the biannual homecoming celebration of Woodson High School in Tallahassee. I interviewed Emma Walters, who was mayor until she was 76 years old.
Oh, that's my home, and I don't know how other people feel about it. I love it. I was the town clerk from 1963 until 1988, and I resigned in 88 because I was tired and I had kids and I was working 2 jobs and it was kind of hard, you know. And then they say they couldn't find nobody else. So they said. Okay, so I came back in 90 and was clerk on up to, I believe it was 90, 94, 96, somewhere. I can't remember what year it was. I think it was maybe 96. And then they selected me mayor in 2008 until I served 2008 to 2010.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Because
great.
I told them I was too old, I got too tired.
At the end of 2016, I traveled to Summit, where along with meeting great people, we had an awesome lunch.
The way I understand the town got started was they had the Thomases. L.W. Thomas was the one who first, and from my impression, stopped off in Summit. And he had a lot of oil back in Texas, where he came from Texas. A lot of oil wells. But, you know, I mean, you have a lot of money and you black, well, there's people trying to take it from you. So he moved from Texas to Summit, from what I understand. Started a church up there named St. Thomas Primitive Baptist Church. It was named L.W. Thomas, St. Thomas. That's how he got the name. So he came here and he had a lot of money. Most of all of Summit, I understand, used to belong to him. He had a lot of money, a lot of property. So when he got established in Summit, that's what I understand now, then some of the other groups came. My people on my mom's side was named Potters. You heard any of the Potters? Well, they came from I want to say Waxahachie, Texas. That's where the Gardners came from as well. But they came from Texas as well. But there were 12 of them. 12 of the Potters. The old man Potter was named. The father was Corzez Potter. This is my mother's family. He looked like he's Indian, doesn't he? Like he is Indian. You know, we were all poor, but we didn't know what poor was. But everybody was the same, you know. The only thing that really distinguished whether or not you had money or not, if you had running water and a phone in your house, you were rich.
Were you rich?
No, I didn't have running water and phone. No.
I enjoy keeping track of the number of miles I've traveled within the state to visit the all-black towns. My total as of 2019 is a staggering 3,700 miles. The town I've visited the most is Rentiesville. For my first visit, I met George Bird and Otis Graves. I declined the beer Mr. Graves offered me, but I did enjoy the stories he told me about the town. The next year, I went to the annual Blues Festival, which takes place every Labor Day weekend. Selby Minner, the widow of blues legend D.C. Minner, leads the festival. Rentiesville is also the site of the Civil War Battle of Honey Springs. I was able to attend the biennial reenactment in 2017. Each year, the Russo Library in Tulsa takes a tour group of all black towns.
I decided the picture I took of Lima lacked the personal touch for a project I was doing. So I returned to Lima and met Eldridge Gordon, who told me stories about how the nearby train depot brought back fond memories of his family.
Them three boys got a kick out of that. They'd watch that train come by. It'd be blowing, and the drivers, they would always wave at them, pull that horn and wave at them out the window. They enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be fun.
it was fun. And then we had a few, what we call hobos, riding it, getting on, slipping on. And they'd be in the boxcars and they'd wave. Sometimes they'd come up here and want something to eat. And I said, well, let me check with my wife, see if she got anything that y'all can care what you eat and care what you. So she trying to fix them up something, whatever she had. And we'd give them a bag because they couldn't be messing around. That train would run off and leave them. So I did that. I fed the hobos too. We did, my wife would. Whatever she had in there cooked up, that's what she would give them. Mm-hmm.
The first black woman mayor in the United States lives right here in Oklahoma. Leela Davis has met 3 presidents, and she shared one of her more unusual experiences with me.
It was 10 women across America. There's 10 outstanding young women of America, and I was one of them. And we were invited to the White House, and we were all in a circle, and President Ford had a golden retriever dog big run around the White House, and the dog was running around the White House, and is it on because what I was going to say, they care about dogs.
Right.
I'm not paying the dog.
Right.
So everybody's patting the dog. So I said, President Ford, I'm Leela Foley from Taft, Oklahoma, and I didn't come to Washington to talk to you about a dog. I said, I want to talk to you about some houses.
Right.
And I was shaking his hand when I said it. And after that little session was over, he had one of his top men of HUD to meet with me right there in the room. That's how we got the houses in Taft.
Okay.
Through under President Gerald Ford's administration.
I really treasure the people I've met and the experiences I've had on my Blacktown journey. My passion for the towns has led me to write a book, which is also called Before the Land Run. I continue to visit the towns and keep up with friends whenever I can. Back in 2017, when I had breakfast with Pastor Fields, I found out that he had just become a newlywed right before his 83rd birthday. I hope this film prompts you to learn more about the towns, visit them, and spread the word about this rich history.
Freedom in view, visions are new. First learn of you, that's what we'll do. Love is the glue, learning is true. Creator, praise our due. Sing to the sky, freedom or die. Motive so high.
Doing these talks and excerpts remind me of President Roosevelt's fireside chats, except I don't have a fireplace. Wanted to tell you a story about one of the towns I visited that didn't make it in the book, and it's Tatum's. My contact there contacted her aunts and uncles for me to interview, and when I drove down there, it's about an hour and a half, kind of like the distance from Bradenton to, say, Disney World. And I drove down there. One of the aunts was really accommodating and sweet. She had been one of the former mayors. And the other aunt, she was a little skeptic. She asked me for my ID and asked why I was asking so many questions and stuff, and gave me a little bit of a hard time. And so we did the interviews, and I finished up, was getting ready to take pictures around town, and I got to my car and it was locked. And I thought, well, she rattled me so much being all upset and asked for my ID. I must have, left the keys in my car when I went to get my ID and stuff. So we called AAA. AAA was about an hour away because Tatum's is like close to Ardmore, and it's about an hour still. So we waited for the AAA guy to come, and he unlocked the car, but when he unlocked it, the keys weren't in there either. What on earth? What could have happened? So we go back inside the church where I had been doing the interviews, and we searched under the pews. We looked all over the place. No keys. And so my contact called her aunt back, and sure enough, the aunt that had given me so much trouble had taken my keys home by mistake. Tell you, that was one of the stories. And there, like in the video, I said there's quite a few stories to tell, but that's one of my favorites I like to share with folks. The advantage of doing in-person programs is I don't have to tape and edit, but this next set of videos for you are going to be centered around musicians, some in the Harlem Renaissance and some at a little bit of a different time period. Duke Ellington actually wrote both serious songs and jazz tunes, so Come Sunday is one of the compositions that were more formal. After that, there's a composer named Florence Price, and a lot of people don't know about her. She was a child prodigy who, at 14 years of old, graduated and then went to New England Conservatory of Music. She studied organ and piano and composition. She was the first black woman to have her symphony performed by a major orchestra. She was born in Little Rock but moved to Chicago, and then while she was in Chicago, her symphony was premiered by the Chicago Symphony for the World's Fair in 1933. And so we have a couple of tunes by her. They're actually songs, but I played them on my flute. Then the last one is a song, spiritual, called My Soul's Been Anchored in the Lord. I recorded it I was one of the singers in the Ambassadors Concert Choir at the time, and that's a community group in Oklahoma City. I hope you enjoy these last few videos. program today will have a couple of spirituals, Wade in the Water, and Every Time I Feel the Spirit that Andrea and I recorded for a couple of library programs that I did in the past.
Every time I feel this feeling moving in my heart, I will pray. Yes, every time I feel this feeling moving in my heart, I will pray. On the mountain, my Lord spoke out his mouth came fire and smoke. All around me looks so fine. Ask my Lord if all was mine. Every time I feel this feeling moving in my heart, I will pray. Yes, every time I feel this feeling moving in my heart, I will pray. Jordan's river runs right cold, chills the body, not the soul. Ain't but one train on this track, runs to heaven and right back. Every time I
And our conclusion will be the Black National Anthem, which was written by James Weldon Johnson and set to music by his brother, John, for a celebration of Abraham Lincoln's birthday in Jacksonville, Florida. Then the NAACP adopted it as the Negro National Anthem in 1920. And at that point, the NAACP, which was made up of black and white members, were protesting the amount of lynchings that were taking place during that time. So the anthem speaks of hope and a future in America that everybody wants to envision. My hope is that there will be some time when Black history is just history for everyone. I thank you for taking time to view our program, and hopefully when we do our next program it'll be in person. So we hope you enjoyed it, and have a great day.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met.